Hello YouTube, Pentazoid111 here. This is my first public video ever, and this topic is going to be on why I think public schools should be eliminated and why they're morally wrong. I will be reading from a journal entry I wrote about the topic for most of the entirety of this video, and my opinions are based on independent research I did about public schools and my own personal experiences in public schools, which I won't discuss here. I normally wear glasses, but not when I'm making videos. Okay, here it goes. Let's see here, get my blog entry up. Okay. Public schools in most Western countries are compulsory, meaning that people are required by law to attend public schools or a school, and it's wrong to force anyone to participate in a service or activity that they did not ask for. It's wrong to force anyone to participate in any activity because it doesn't leave the individual the option to decide if they want to make the choice of whether or not to participate in the activity. What if someone forced you, assuming you are an adult, to go to a building with a bunch of strangers for most of the day? What if someone forced you to participate in a bunch of disparate activities like square dancing and sewing, two things most adults don't like and will not like to do for 7 hours a day? For the most part, I don't think most adults, at least in so-called free countries, would not tolerate such an intrusion onto their lives. But since the power dynamic is so great between adults and children, they make this exception for children most certainly when it comes to the decision to send their child to school. I think there's an obvious double standard when it comes to how we resolve issues with adults versus other adults and how we resolve issues with adults versus children. But that's another topic for another video. The first point alone should invalidate reasons why forced schooling is wrong, but I know most people will not accept that point. So here comes point number 2. Public schools are indoctrination centers for whatever the dominant political paradigm is at the time. The history books have to be approved by the local school boards. Therefore, there is plenty of room for them to pick out textbooks that agrees with their own political and social agendas, even if the textbooks that they heavily disagree with and leave out of school curriculums are factually based and genuinely try to present a balanced view of history, and therefore textbooks are censored. You already see this occurring in school districts across the country today, with school administrators attempting to impose prayer in school, teach creationism as a science, deny the theory of evolution, present a one-sided view of economics, and many historical figures that some members of the school board consider controversial. U.S. presidents and other national figures are often treated as heroic figures, and there isn't a presentation in high school level history class for the most part that presents a side where their policies are heavily criticized because of the consequences that they lead to, that certain demographics are most affected by. There's a good and evil dichotomy presented in history textbooks, especially when it comes to events like World War II. High school textbook treats Nazi Germany and the U.S. economy. Let me read that again. Sparsing my words a bit here. High school textbooks treat Nazi Germany's economy and the U.S. economy as like they were completely different. While there were many differences between Nazi Germany's culture and American cultures, in American culture as a whole, there were many similarities between Roosevelt's economy and Hitler's economy that writers in American history textbooks often ignore. But I won't get into that here. Kids are expected to pledge to the flag without understanding that they are making an allegiance to nationalism unconditionally. You can be scolded harshly or punished if you don't bother to pledge to a piece of cloth. Certain books are also banned from school libraries and school classrooms. So when you walk into a public library, you are walking in a filtered library that has been approved of by the school board according to their wishes. Not the student body, not even teachers or school administrators. There are banned books that aren't even allowed in public schools, and one time people were talking about censoring the word nigger and changing it to the word slave in the book The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. There are plenty of other books that were banned that I won't name here. Certain websites on the internet are censored heavily on school computers. I graduated from high school in 2005, and the internet was in my public school system since I was in 4th grade, and from that point up until I graduated from high school, there were websites that we weren't allowed to go to that were very political or social in nature, and you certainly couldn't comment on or look at message boards no matter what the topic of the message board was. I wouldn't be surprised if the internet censorship has worsened since I left high school 8 years ago. Moving on to point number 3. Schools attempt to force millions of children with different interests, different learning styles, and different aptitudes to learn from a watered-down curriculum that everyone is forced to adhere to for 13 years of their lives. If you have a passion for drawing or a passion for computers, why the hell should a child be spending more of their time learning about the sonnets Shakespeare wrote than learning about whatever their passion is, be it computers, drawing, or whatever? Why does everyone need to know about Macbeth, the story of Wuthering Heights, or The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe? There are books that weren't in the curriculum that have a more influential impact on an individual's life than any of the books that they were assigned to read in school. From my personal experience, most of the books that I read weren't required in school for a reading assignment. So there's your example right there. As kids get older, most of them look up the Spark Notes for the books rather than going through the drudgery of reading a lengthy book, since they were more interested in passing the test and reading the book for pure pleasure or as an intellectual curiosity. There's certainly no need for any school curriculum at all, and there is certainly no need for a watered-down biased curriculum that doesn't really help most of the people that it is purported to help anyway. Last point. Schools are prisons. This isn't hyperbole here. They really do simulate prison conditions. There is a lot of unwanted force associations in school between individuals, often coming in the form of harassment by other fellow students you would otherwise not be associated with. You aren't allowed to leave the premises that let me read that again. You aren't allowed to leave the school premises, and if you do, people will attempt to stop you and or punish you for leaving the school premises. Children are forced to walk in a single file line, very much like prisoners have to do. There is a school dress code that is heavily enforced. You can't eat lunch or breakfast when you want to. You have to seek permission from some authority figure to use the bathroom, and oftentimes they deny your request to go to the bathroom even if you truly have to go. And of course, the last point, there is a long 13-year prison term for all kids who attend public schools. Alright, that's my whole blog entry. You can provide feedback if you like. If you don't want to, don't. Well, that's my first video.